the Krishna consciousness of the person who's doing that. You know, the bhakti that they're carrying can say volumes that their voice may not say, specific to Bhagavad Gita teachings and things like that. If that person, on the other hand, is hiding, in other words, there's different examples. One example that comes to mind is Mahatattva, who's now, what's his name? Tirtha Maharaj? Ananta Tirtha. Ananta Tirtha. So, he experimented with this, you know, something similar to, not the same as, but similar to what Devamrita Maharaj has proven to be very successful. You know, allowing where young people could just be young people, and then he would move amongst them being himself. You know, in a dhoti, he didn't hide his, you know, tilak, shaved head, saffron cloth, but he could move amongst them and mix with them in a way that they weren't intimidated by him because he wasn't pushing anything. But he developed, you know, gather them together, and he could develop relationships with them, and then build a bridge from that to come to some series of classes at the temple on something that would be of interest to them. You know, little by little. He's very strong, he's very strict with himself, but he's very soft with others. Because so with that Krishna consciousness, he's pulled many people into the phase of being sadhakas. Others, there's not a whole lot of movement or transformation if, you know, it's without giving. So much depends upon the Krishna consciousness the person is carrying to make it effective or not. And then the degree to which they feel they have to hide Krishna or Krishna consciousness or parts of Krishna consciousness, as opposed to just be Krishna conscious. Not intimidate people by being Krishna conscious, but being Krishna conscious. And they're mixed. So I guess short answer is, depends on the person. I've seen it be ineffective, I've seen it be effective. Who couldn't comment anything? You understand the question? Comment?
Basically the same thing you were saying, Maharaj. Also, I was just thinking of when Jai Jagannath Prabhu was here, when he would do college programs, he kind of evolved his approach over time. I know sometimes he would do japa, and he would explain what japa is, and then he would do some philosophy discussion. And I know towards the end, he kind of cut everything, and he would just come in, teach them how to chant, and then do kirtan, and then do prasadam. And he was just like this sannyasi that you were mentioning, who he would just come in with all his dhoti and everything, and over time there were people that came up and would ask more in depth as their hearts got transformed. So, just like as he said, the character of the person.
Here's an example, a different example. When Ganga Narayan was at Penn State and leading the club at Penn State, he got the idea of having inviting Badahari to come and conduct a kirtan yoga retreat. Mantra yoga retreat, thank you. And just so happened, the university gave approval for having a big banner right across the arch as everybody enters and leaves the campus. A lot of people signed up. And they were expecting something else than what we were ready to present. There's Badahari with his harmonium and having kirtan. And they were frozen, in a circle. And we changed gears right on the spot because one student leaned over to another student and said, "Is this about God?" I'm leaving. So that was like, fortunately, in addition to Badahari, a devotee from the Potomac area named Hari Kirtan, who was going to do the yoga instruction, we just changed the whole format. So the next morning, it was yoga. And then he knew the art of getting them comfortable and to do yoga. And then there's this type of yoga where it's Vyasa yoga or something like that, where you move, not just sit. And then there's sound connecting with the Vinyasa yoga and chanting Om. And then he got them to chant Hare Krishna. They were comfortable going to next step, next step, next step. And then Badahari came out in the evening. And he was, expecting the worst. So instead of chanting Hare Krishna, he chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And they started to stand and then clap. And then, so he shrugged his shoulders literally and then went into Hare Krishna Kirtan. And they started, amazing, they started dancing like devotees dance. The Swami step back and forth, moving in circles, swinging with their arms, or going around. Same things the devotees did. They never had seen, they just were doing. He shrugged his shoulders again and, let it go. And had like a really romping, stomping kirtan. And then at the end, they, in unison, said, more, 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 more. So they got more. But the evening before, 24 hours earlier, is, I'm out of here. Because this is about God. Now this was in the temple room. The door is a wooden door. The door was closed, so it didn't look like a temple room. But Prabhupada's Murti was there. And you've been in the Girtanagari temple room. It's nice. It was spring. The weather was nice. It wasn't cold. It wasn't too hot. Nice. They had their yoga mats and their yoga clothes, and they were very comfortable. So because there was Badahari and there was Hare Kirtan, they moved from I'm out of here to more, more, more. And then a number of those, because that was at the beginning of the semester, they stayed and participated, some of them, in the club activities where they got more Krishna consciousness. Anyway, it was an experiment. It was almost a disaster, but it turned out all right. Depends on the consciousness of the person that's conducting the activity, and their sensitivity to the audience and their ability to give contact with Krishna in a way that's palatable and digestible and smooth. There's other, in the flower vase, there's other flowers. Some people are, very fundamental. You can't do that, you can't do that, you have to do what Prabhupada did, that's it. And then there's others that are way over there, and there's some people in between. You judge a thing by its result. And our persons coming forward over a period of time to commit to Krishna. Anyway. we need to do something that's going to, specifically in North America, that's going to reach the hearts and the minds of Western people. We haven't been doing that so well. Look around you. And it's not so different elsewhere besides here. You know, non-resident Indians. And it's largely like that. There's other, so we need special consideration of how to reach. There's a lot of other people in the US besides non-resident Indians and how to best reach them. So we need to get a little creative and reach out in different ways. Some places are more successful than others. In our audience we have persons who are the product of such efforts, and they're practicing Krishna consciousness very nicely. And then, you know, important is those persons, like attracts like, and to bring other students like them into Krishna consciousness. Where's Yuli? She's still here? She left? She's an example. She came as a product of Paramarupa's activity, Northeastern University, and she now has a graduate school, a club, that she's the president of. I attended the club meeting once, it's 90% Chinese students. There's one American fellow. Like attracts like. So we need more of that. I mean, it took a non-resident Indian to find her, and similarly, Nancy's over here, and she met some devotees, non-resident Indian devotees at the university conducting a program. So, the message of bhakti connects very well. So then, we need to encourage those people and give resources and support to those people that can do that, reach other constituents. So if there's some experimentation, we need to do something. We don't want to water down Krishna consciousness, but we also need to do something that's going to reach the hearts and the minds of others. Right here in this room, May 2015, there was a gathering of reaching the hearts and minds of the Western population. The room was full of people discussing that topic. This, that, the other thing. We need to get innovative. Some are more successful than others. On the one hand, on the other hand, we don't want to water down Krishna consciousness. On the other hand, we have to reach people that we're not reaching now. We have to think of creative ways to do that. However, is prasadam ready?
Yes, Guru.
Okay. So we're going to break for prasadam. Everyone's favorite. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Romapada Maharaj ki jai. His Holiness Romapada Maharaj Vyasa Puja Festival ki jai.